Welcome back to Top Liberty Coins. Today, we are diving deep into one of the most talked about coins in the Lincoln Cent series, the 1981 Lincoln penny. This seemingly ordinary copper coin that most people overlook in their pocket change could actually be worth hundreds, thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yes, you heard that right. Some of these pennies have sold for jaw-dropping prices up to $787,979. Stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what makes these coins so valuable, how to identify them, and how you could be holding a small fortune in the palm of your hand. The beginning of the Lincoln Cent story. The story of the Lincoln penny began in 1909, designed by Victor David Brenner to celebrate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. It was the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure rather than a symbolic image, and it quickly became one of the most beloved coins in American history. Over the decades, the Lincoln Cent went through several changes, but the classic design with Lincoln's portrait on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse became iconic. By the time 1981 rolled around, the coin had already been in circulation for more than 70 years and was on the verge of another major change. 1981, the end of an era for copper cents. The year 1981 is historically significant because it was the final full year the U.S. Mint struck Lincoln pennies made mostly of copper. Each 1981 penny consists of 95% copper and 5% zinc, weighing 3.11 grams. In 1982, due to rising copper prices, the mint switched to a cheaper composition of 97.5% zinc and only 2.5% copper plating. That means 1981 pennies mark the end of the classic heavy copper era. Because of this transition, collectors place a special premium on uncirculated and rare era coins from 1981. Mints and mint marks to know. In 1981, the U.S. Mint produced Lincoln Cents at 3 locations: Philadelphia, No Mint Mark; Denver, D Mint Mark; and San Francisco, S Mint Mark, used mostly for proof coins. Philadelphia struck over 7.4 billion coins, Denver produced more than 5.4 billion, and San Francisco made about 4 million proof coins. Even though billions were minted, only a tiny percentage survive today in pristine, collectible condition. That scarcity is where the real value begins. The two different types, Type 1 and Type 2 mint marks. One of the most fascinating details about 1981 pennies is the two distinct mint mark styles on proof coins, Type 1 and Type 2. Type 1 features a filled S mint mark, while Type 2 shows a clearer, sharper S. Collectors highly prize Type 2 proof coins, and they often sell for significantly more money. Some perfect condition 1981 S Type 2 proofs have fetched thousands of dollars at auctions. Rare errors and varieties that make big money error coins are where things get truly exciting. Certain 1981 Lincoln Cents have rare minting mistakes that dramatically increase their value. Some examples include double-die obverse coins, where lettering like Liberty or In God We Trust shows a doubling effect, making them extremely desirable. Off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and broad strikes are also known to exist for this year. Even minor errors can boost a coin's value from a few cents to hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Proof coins. Small mintage, big value. If you happen to find a 1981 S proof penny, consider yourself lucky. These coins were struck with extra care for collectors and were never meant for circulation. Because of their small mintage and superb quality, they often carry high premiums today. The finest known examples, graded PR70 Deep Cameo, have been known to sell for over $3,000. And if it's a Type 2 S proof, the price can go even higher. Grading. The secret to unlocking maximum value. The condition of a coin is everything in the world of numismatics. A circulated 1981 penny might only be worth a few cents above face value. But if it's in mint state condition, graded MS65, MS66, or higher by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, its value can soar. For instance, a 1981 D Lincoln Cent graded MS67 red once sold for over $5,000. And the rarest of the rare, in perfect MS68 condition, can reach staggering amounts, climbing toward the $10,000 to $20,000 range. Auction highlights pennies worth thousands. Some of the most incredible auction stories involve coins collectors once thought worthless. A 1981 Lincoln cent in nearly flawless condition recently sold for over $7,800. Another rare error penny from the same year crossed the auction block for over $15,000. And when we include the value of proof coins, double dies, and transitional errors, some rare examples have pushed into the six-figure range, with certain collections valued as high as $787,979. That's nearly $800,000 for a 1-cent coin. The copper bullion value. Here's an interesting fact: because of their 95% copper composition, 1981 pennies have a metal content value that's higher than their face value. As of recent copper prices, each penny is worth around 2 to 3 cents just for the metal alone. While it's currently illegal to melt US cents for scrap, this intrinsic value is another reason collectors and investors hold on to pre-1982 pennies. Over time, as copper prices rise, these coins could become even more desirable. How to find 1981 pennies today? You might think rare pennies like this are impossible to find, but you'd be surprised. Check your old coin jars, search through pocket change, and even visit banks to get rolls of cents to search through. Coin roll hunting is a popular hobby where collectors look for hidden treasures among ordinary coins. Many people have discovered high-grade 1981 pennies or rare errors this way without spending more than a few dollars. What collectors look for when evaluating a 1981 penny? Collectors focus on several key factors: luster, strike quality, color, red, red-brown, or brown, and the presence of any doubling or errors. Coins with full red luster and no contact marks are the most valuable. Also, keep an eye out for strong details in Lincoln's beard, the lettering on Liberty, and the steps of the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. Tips for preserving and storing your pennies: if you find a valuable penny, don't clean it. Cleaning can drastically reduce a coin's value. Instead, store it in a protective holder or coin flip to prevent scratches. If you believe your coin is rare or in exceptional condition, consider sending it to a professional grading service. A certified grade can significantly increase its resale value and attract more buyers. Future potential and why you should collect the 1981 pennies: value is likely to keep growing as time passes. With copper coins no longer in production and billions being melted or lost, the number of high-grade survivors will only decrease. Collectors around the world continue to seek out these coins, driving up demand and price. Even if you're just starting out in coin collecting, 1981 Lincoln cents are an excellent coin to focus on because they're affordable to acquire and have significant upside potential. Final word: your treasure might be closer than you think. Before you spend your next penny, take a closer look. You might be holding a piece of American history worth far more than 1 cent. The 1981 Lincoln penny stands as a perfect example of how a small, everyday coin can hold enormous value. From its place in U.S. history as the last full year of copper cents to its rare varieties and astonishing auction records approaching $787,979, this little coin is a giant in the world of numismatics. So start searching your change, check your coin jars, and never underestimate the power of a single cent. Thank you for watching Top Liberty Coins, where we bring history and hidden treasure to life one coin at a time. If you found this video helpful, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our deep dives into rare and valuable coins. Until next time, keep searching, keep collecting, and who knows, the next fortune might already be in your pocket. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating and valuable coins ever struck by the U.S. Mint, the legendary 1982 Lincoln cent, also known as the 1982 penny. At first glance, it might look like just another ordinary 1-cent coin. But don't be fooled, this tiny piece of copper and zinc hides a massive story of history, transformation, rarity, and shocking value that could make you hundreds, thousands, or even over $787,977 if you know what to look for. So stay tuned till the very end, because every detail in this video could be the difference between a penny and a fortune. The birth of the 1982 PNNY. The story of the 1982 Lincoln cent is a turning point in American coinage history. Up until 1982, US 1-cent coins had been minted primarily from 95% copper and 5% zinc since 1962. But copper prices were skyrocketing in the late 1970s and early 1980s. The metal in each penny was becoming worth more than the coin's face value. This posed a huge problem for the US Mint. People were hoarding pennies, melting them down for scrap value, and the government was losing money producing them. So, 1982 became a year of change, literally. Midway through that year, the Mint transitioned from the traditional copper alloy to a new, cost-effective composition, 97.5% zinc with a thin copper plating. It was a small change in weight and material, but it created a historical division in the world of Lincoln cents. Two metals, one YR. Because of this mid-year composition switch, 1982 became the only year in U.S. history where both copper and zinc pennies were struck for circulation. Copper cents weigh about 3.11 grams, while the new zinc cents weigh 2.5 grams. This change also introduced an entire family of varieties. Most coins from other years have one or two major types, but 1982 pennies have up to 7 or 8 recognized varieties, and knowing the difference can mean the difference between a coin worth 1 cent and one worth thousands. All 7 main varieties. Let's break them down. The 1982 Lincoln cent comes in these major varieties: 1982 large date copper, 1982 small date copper, 1982 large date zinc, 1982 small date zinc, 1982 D large date copper, 1982 D large date zinc, 1982 D small date zinc, and then there's the legendary 1982 D small date copper, which is not supposed to exist, but it does. Only a handful have ever been found. This variety is one of the holy grails of modern coin collecting, and if you discover one, you could be sitting on a treasure worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Large date versus small date. Now let's talk about how to identify them. The difference between large date and small date pennies is subtle but crucial. On large date pennies, the numbers in the date appear fuller and the 2 in 1982 is curved and sits lower. On small date pennies, the numbers are slimmer and the 2 has a more delicate curve and sits higher, often aligning with the top of the 1 and 9. Learning to spot this difference is your first step toward unlocking the potential hidden in 1982 pennies. The weight test: copper or zinc. The easiest way to tell if your coin is copper or zinc is by using a digital scale. A copper penny weighs around 3.11 grams, while a zinc penny weighs about 2.5 grams. This tiny difference is the key to identifying rare transitional errors and valuable varieties. Always weigh your 1982 pennies. You never know when you might find a copper coin where only zinc should exist. The Holy Grail, 1982 D small date COPPR. Now, let's talk about the star of the show, the 1982 D small date copper. This coin was not officially produced, at least, not intentionally. Denver only minted zinc small dates, but somehow, a few copper planchets were struck with the small date die. Only a few examples are known, making them ultra-rare. One of these coins sold for $18,800 in a private sale, and experts believe if one were to appear in pristine mint state condition today, it could fetch over $100,000 to $200,000, possibly even more. Other rare 1982 errors and varieties. The 1982 penny series is also home to a wide range of mint errors and die varieties that can multiply the value of your coin. Look for double dies, where the lettering or date appears doubled under magnification. Search for off-center strikes, broad strikes, and clipped planchets, which are all errors that collectors pay a premium for. Even coins with strong, clear details and original luster, known as mint state, MS, condition, can be worth far more than face value. Market values and price trends. So what are 1982 pennies worth today? Common circulated examples are usually worth face value, but uncirculated copper large date and small date cents can sell for $2 to $15. Zinc small dates in high mint state grades can reach $20 to $50. Certified mint state 67 or higher coins, particularly those with exceptional eye appeal, can bring $150 to $500 or more. And again, the rare 1982 small date copper can be worth tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars depending on condition. With coin values steadily rising and collector demand stronger than ever, the 1982 penny remains a hot item on the market. Auction highlights and record SALES auction records show just how powerful this little penny can be. A top-graded 1982 small-date copper Lincoln cent sold for over $10,000. Exceptional zinc varieties have crossed the auction block for $5,000 to $8,000. And the handful of known 1982 small-date copper cents are so rare they almost never appear on the open market. When they do, prices skyrocket. Some experts believe one could one day top $787,977 if discovered in pristine condition and auctioned to eager collectors worldwide. How to search your PNNAES if you're ready to hunt? The good news is that 1982 pennies are still widely available in circulation. Search through old penny rolls, coin jars, and bank boxes. Estate sales and flea markets are also gold mines for overlooked coins. Always keep a magnifying glass, a digital scale, and a bright light handy. And don't forget, condition matters. Coins that have never been cleaned and show original mint luster will always bring the highest prices. Storage and preservation tips. Once you find a valuable 1982 penny, protect it. Store coins individually in coin flips, 2x2 holders, or capsules. Keep them in a cool, dry environment away from moisture and humidity. Never clean a coin. Cleaning can dramatically reduce its value. If you believe you found a rare variety or error, consider having it authenticated and graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. Certification can dramatically increase a coin's resale price. Investment potential of 1982 PNNAES. The 1982 penny is more than just a collectible, it's a smart investment. As copper prices continue to rise and collector demand increases, the value of high-grade and rare varieties is expected to grow. Coins that are currently worth a few $100s could be worth thousands in the future. And if you're lucky enough to discover one of the ultra-rare transitional errors, you could literally turn 1 cent into a life-changing amount of money. The legacy of the 1982 Lincoln CNT. The 1982 Lincoln cent is a perfect example of how even the smallest changes in minting history can create incredible opportunities for collectors. It represents a major shift in U.S. coinage, a moment when economics reshaped tradition. But more importantly, it proves that treasure is still hiding in plain sight, in the coins we use every day. From humble beginnings in your change jar to auction records worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, the 1982 penny is a legend that continues to grow. Conclusion and call to action. And there you have it, the complete story of the 1982 Lincoln cent, one of the most fascinating coins ever struck by the U.S. Mint. From copper to zinc, large date to small date, common varieties to ultra-rare treasures worth over $787,977, this little penny has it all. Now it's your turn to start searching. Check your change, go through those old coin jars, and dig into those rolls, because you might be holding a fortune without even knowing it. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1982 penny and want more videos about rare coins, valuable cents, and hidden treasures, don't forget to subscribe to Top Liberty Coins right now. Hit the like button, ring the notification bell, and share this video with your fellow collectors. Together, we'll keep unlocking the secrets of America's most valuable coins. Today, we're talking about one of the most talked about and mysterious coins in the Lincoln cent series, the legendary 1982 Lincoln penny. This single coin, often overlooked by most people, can be worth hundreds, thousands, and even over $15,000 if you know exactly what to look for. Yes, you heard that right, a coin worth only 1 cent could be hiding a fortune in your coin jar right now. Stay with me until the end because today we're going through the entire history, the types and varieties, the current market values, and the insider tips collectors use to find these rare cents worth a lot of money. The history of the Lincoln penny. The story of the Lincoln cent begins way back in 1909, when the United States Mint first introduced it to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure and quickly became one of the most beloved coins in circulation. Over the decades, the Lincoln cent has undergone several changes, in design, metal composition, and even size, but none are as significant as the changes that happened in 1982. Why is 1982 such an important year? Because it was the year the U.S. Mint made a major change in the composition of the penny, a change that would create one of the most collectible and valuable sets of modern coins. Before 1982, pennies were made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, weighing 3.11 grams. But due to the rising cost of copper, the mint switched mid-year to a new composition, 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper plating, which weighs only 2.5 grams. This change didn't just create a new penny, it created multiple varieties of the 1982 cent, some of which are now worth a fortune. The 1982 transition. Because the switch happened midway through 1982, the U.S. Mint struck pennies in both copper and zinc compositions during the same year. This created confusion among collectors and, more importantly, opportunities. There are 7 official varieties of the 1982 Lincoln cent, for small date and large date versions in copper and zinc from the Philadelphia and Denver mints. But there's also one extremely rare transitional error that's worth thousands of dollars, and we'll reveal that one shortly. If you have a 1982 penny, the very first thing you should do is weigh it on a scale. If it weighs, it's the older copper composition. If it weighs 2.5 grams, it's zinc. Even ordinary copper 1982 cents are worth more than face value because of their metal content. Each is worth about 2 to 3 cents in copper melt value alone. Large date, small date varieties. Now let's talk about the large date and small date varieties, another key factor in determining a 1982 penny's value. The difference is subtle but crucial. On a large date penny, the 2 in 1982 sits higher and curves downward more. On a small date penny, the 2 is more level and the overall date looks slightly smaller and more delicate. Philadelphia produced both large and small date coins in copper and zinc, while the Denver Mint mostly produced large date coins. Because these varieties were struck in smaller quantities and during a transitional period, some combinations are scarcer and more desirable to collectors, and this directly affects their market value. The Holy Grail 1982 D small date copper. The crown jewel of all 1982 cents is the 1982 D small date copper penny, a transitional error that shouldn't even exist. Denver was only supposed to strike zinc cents with the small date design. But somehow, a tiny number of copper planchets were mistakenly used, creating one of the most valuable modern U.S. coins. Only a handful of these have been confirmed, and they sell for staggering amounts whenever they appear at auction. In 2016, one 1982 D small date copper penny graded MS63 by PCGS sold for $18,800. Experts believe there may be only 10 to 20 known examples in existence. Imagine finding one of these in your change, a 1-cent coin suddenly worth nearly $20,000. Other valuable 1982 pennies. But the 1982 D copper small date isn't the only one worth money. Even regular 1982 cents in top condition can bring impressive prices. For example, a 1982 small date copper graded MS68 sold $4,300. A 1982 zinc large date graded MS69 brought in $2,400. A 1982 D large date copper in MS67 sold for over $1,000. These are not errors, just superbly preserved examples. This means even ordinary pennies, if they're in pristine, uncirculated condition, can be worth dozens or hundreds of times their face value. How to identify your 1982 penny? To check your 1982 penny, follow these steps. Check the mint mark under the date. A D means Denver, no mint mark means Philadelphia. Look closely at the date to see if it's large or small. Weigh the coin using a digital scale. This simple process takes less than a minute but could reveal a coin worth thousands. The market value today. The coin market for 1982 Lincoln cents remains strong and even continues to grow. In 2025, copper prices are higher, coin collecting is booming, and rare transitional errors are more sought after than ever. On online marketplaces and major auction platforms, certified 1982 pennies routinely sell for hundreds to thousands of dollars. Even circulated copper cents from 1982 are selling in bulk above face value because of their metal content. And high-grade coins certified by PCGS or NGC continue to break records, a clear sign that collectors see long-term value in these coins. Why the 1982 penny is so special? So why is the 1982 penny considered one of the most interesting modern coins? It's the perfect storm of history, error, variety, and rarity. It marks a turning point in U.S. coinage from copper to zinc. It offers multiple collectible varieties. And it contains one of the rarest transitional errors of the 20th century. All this from a coin most people ignore. That's why collectors call the 1982 cent a modern classic. Searching for hidden treasure. Here's the exciting part: you don't need to be a millionaire or own a coin shop to find one. 1982 pennies are still extremely common in circulation. Search your pocket change, your old jars of coins, or bank rolls. The odds of finding a rare variety are real. And if you're lucky enough to come across a 1982 small date copper, you could literally turn 1 cent into over $15,000 overnight. Preservation tips: if you do find an interesting 1982 penny, don't clean it. Cleaning coins can ruin their value. Store it safely in a coin flip or protective holder. If it looks high grade or unusual, consider sending it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. A certified grade can multiply your coin's value and make it easier to sell. Fun fact: copper melt value. Here's a cool fact: copper 1982 pennies are already worth more than face value just from their metal content. As of today, each copper penny contains about 2.5 cents worth of copper. If the US ever repeals the law against melting cents, those old copper coins could become even more valuable. Common mistakes collectors make: one of the biggest mistakes beginners make is not weighing their coins. Many zinc coins look identical to copper, but without a scale, you'll never know. Another mistake is overlooking small date versus large date details. That tiny difference can be the difference between 1 cent and $15,000. What collectors are paying now? Collectors today are willing to pay a premium for well-preserved 1982 cents. Even circulated copper small dates can fetch 10 to 20 cents a piece in bulk. Uncirculated examples range from $50 to $300, and rare transitional errors command $10,000 to $20,000 or more. The market is strong and growing, and now is a great time to start searching. Final thoughts and call to action: the 1982 Lincoln penny is a fascinating chapter in U.S. coin history. It's a story of change, transition, and hidden treasure, and it proves that sometimes the most valuable coins are hiding in plain sight. So check your pocket change, grab a scale, and start searching today. If you learned something new or feel inspired to look through your coins, make sure to subscribe to Top Liberty Coins for more in-depth guides, coin history, and market updates. Hit the like button, drop a comment telling us what rare coins you found, and share this video with other collectors. Remember, that penny in your hand might just be worth thousands of dollars, and the next rare discovery could be yours.